been a few months since I've done the last Exosign update, so I guess let's just do another one. But before we go into detail about that wall, let's start off with this one right here that we all know, my very first one, the Gessler Lumina, right there. It's got a fluorescent in it. Then we got one of those, which is so similar, or it's actually the exact same as the light up one on my wall. Then we got a light up one of these hanging right here, and a arrow right there. These are, I guess these haven't really been part of any norms, so they're really rare to find. Right, oh, and above this, so we got a DIN one. Right, so here we've got another arrow. So I guess we already know about this one. This is the US Army base one from Germany. So it's a German brand for a German Army base. So they use German parts, but they put the exit into it, put like the classical exit for the American exit sign. So the US Army soldiers in Germany would know where the exit is. I'm pretty sure they could actually interpret any of those as well, but yeah, but since these had to be replaced with the actual icon like this one, and these were no longer allowed, they threw these out, and this is where I got this one from. Just similar to the one from the ceiling hanging down, yeah, the arrow, classic American LED one. And oh, by the way, this one used to have a fluorescent, but the controller was completely burned, like it was like overheating for months, so the battery was also leaking, so I just basically completely stripped out all the electrics because the ballast was also kind of blown up, and I just put an LED inside of it. Right, those ones just had two light bulbs, but I replaced them with LEDs because that simply doesn't put that much of a thermal like stress onto the plastic material, so, and it doesn't like get yellowish from like over time, so that's why I put LEDs into those. And why don't those have batteries? That is pretty much because unlike the American models like this one and this one, in Germany the Exosigns were not required to have a battery for a very long time, so they would only light up if there was anything wrong, or if there was a power cut. They had a central battery. Right, then this one right here, it's got a little lithium battery, but I unplugged it so it wouldn't constantly be charged and discharged, because I have had a bad experience with a lithium battery and I don't want this to repeat. Right, also a thing back then when this thing was manufactured, which was around the 80s or 70s, the battery technology wasn't as far as it is today, so the batteries are really, really heavy and extremely expensive, so yeah, that's another reason. Then we got a 90s ABB SEAC, so that is right here, SEAC from the 80s. This one here is ABB SEAC, because ABB is now, because SEAC is now part of ABB. This one's got a fluorescent. And a quick starter. This one is from Lithuania. This one is an arrow for combination with those ones. So we'd simply just have those on the wall, similar to those ones. They got an RZB one, also used to have two bulbs, but to prevent it from like discoloring over time with the bulbs, I just put into LEDs. Also the because it's like turned on like for 12 hours a day, so it wouldn't put too much stress on the plastic and it would last longer. Small new one, but I don't know whether it's compliant to any norm, because the arrow is like a bit yeah, like in the upper right corner. I don't know if it's compliant to any norm. Then we got the we got a German or European one, as you find it in buildings from the 90s. It's got no running man on it, and in my opinion it's the more rare, like, yeah, it's not really particularly that rare, it was used a lot, but it's one of the more hard to interpret one especially if you don't know what a block and an arrow underneath it means. Then you got an order lighter, which is emergency ladder. Then we got the 90s one. Let's move on here. This is just another plate for this one. You can swap these out. This is a GDR Soviet one with a Soviet symbol on it. Then we got a similar one to that one, but it's got some flames next to it, which never have been part of any norm for the exit signs in particular. They have been part of a norm, or they are still part of the norm for fire extinguishers. Then we got Fluchtweg, which is simply means escape route. Then we got an arrow for this one. Oh no, the arrow is actually for this one. There's a separate arrow for those ones that I currently don't have, but I will get one of those. This is an arrow for this one, also Soviet and or GDR. Then we got British fire exit. Then we got, I can't even pronounce this, this is Italian, with the arrow facing downwards. Now it has to be upwards, but people still install the downwards one for some reason. Then we got, yeah, another one of these, 90s one. Then we got, these ones are two individual ones. This is one that has never been part of any norm and it was not widely used, but it is still used to indicate like locked or like alarmed fire doors. So we'd simply put that onto a fire door and then put a button underneath it so people would know, press this button in order to unlock the door and not to trigger the alarm or to trigger the alarm, whatever. Right, then we got the fire escape window where you need to step onto a fire truck. Then we got an arrow for those ones as well, which is kind of a newer arrow. Oops, the guest one just fell down. Right, then we got the Escalera one, which is, or Escalera, I don't know how to pronounce it, which is from Spain. Yeah, pretty interesting because it's got the new icon, but it's got kind of those smaller old-fashioned arrows and simple stairs instead of something like just an arrow facing into a corner. So that's interesting. Then we've got a Chinese one. Don't even know it's... My mum's told me it's something called like Chuko, which means exit, but I don't know. They apparently also use those nowadays, but with the Chinese symbol on it. Then we got the emergency ladder, which is this one as well. So this kind of seems to be sneaking this person for some reason, and it points towards a door with a ladder in it. And then we got one from the Accessible Exit Sign project from Australia, which is pretty much this one. Also, this one's also an Australian one because they used to have just exit, and now they've implemented this icon as well. So I guess that's basically it for today's exit sign update. If you have any questions, make sure you ask them down below in the comments, and I guess see you in the next video. Until then, bye.